for someone to get us through the first few minutes of our meeting to get over that procedural hurdle. So for that, is anybody interested in serving as our ad hoc chairperson until we get to that item on the agenda to elect our permanent chairperson?
Chris, I'd be happy to go ahead and kick it off.
Okay. Any other candidates or a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, hearing a second. The motion in front of us is to appoint Commissioner Hernandez as our ad hoc chairperson for the very short period of time until we get to item 7A on our agenda today. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. The ayes appear to have it, do have it, so ordered. All right, Commissioner Hernandez, thank you very much. And I will put the agenda on the screen for us here. Oh, that's the draft agenda. Let me get the real one. Does it say draft on top? And then we can take it away from there. Oh, actually, our agenda hasn't changed at all, so I'm just going to use the draft because I don't have a PDF of the final one as handy as I was hoping I would. But it has not changed, so it is the same agenda. And there we go.
All right, well, thank you, Chris, for going ahead and calling this meeting to order. I'd like to say hi to everyone, and we'll go and do roll call quick. And Chris, when would be the best time for us to be able to introduce ourselves to our new commissioner here?
Let's do that. Let's do that with our roll call here. As your name is called, say that you're here and give a short introduction.
All right, sounds good. We'll do a roll call right away then, and then once you say you're present, go ahead and give yourself a short intro. So I'll go ahead and start with myself. I'm Commissioner Hernandez. I've been on the commission for a little over a year left, so that means I have just under a year to go. It's been a great time to serve on this commission. I work for the Downtown Business Alliance. I've been here for a bit over 2 years, and I've been in the Flagstaff community for about 5 years. So I love what I do. I love putting on my events, and I have some more announcements later for some fun things we have coming up. But for Commissioner Mallett, thank you for joining, and it's great to meet you. And then we'll go ahead. Carmen Leet, the chief. Not present?
She's not present today, no.
All right. Sandra Darling.
Thanks, Commissioner Manny. My name is Sandra Darling, and I too have been here the better part of a year. I really enjoy this work. I am in workforce development. Labor studies is my passion, so I'm very lucky to be part of the Arizona at Work team and doing what I love. I also volunteer quite a bit in the community. And I guess of most important right now is that I am rebuilding PFLAG. So starting a not new, nonprofit here in Flagstaff. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Darling. We'll move on to Commissioner Martinez.
Present. Hi, everybody. So my name is Selena Martinez, and I've been in Flagstaff for my entire life, and I've only been serving on this commission since about February or March. I currently work at WellPath, which is the medical company that is contracted by the jail here. And I have worked in nonprofits, and I love being a part of this commission to see all the good stuff happening in our community and try and help wherever I can. So welcome to our new commission member.
Thank you, Commissioner. Move on to Commissioner Sanchez.
Present. So my name is Angelica Sanchez, and I've been with the commission, I want to say about a year and a half. I teach sociology at NAU and the community college. And I've really been enjoying my time at the commission. I support a couple of working groups. So I'm leader of the library working group, and then I support Commissioner Darling on the Rainbow Crosswalk working group. I also volunteer a bit around town right now. I'd say my most satisfying gig is supporting Nails with some of that Spanish English translation. And coming up, I will also be supporting bilingual story time with a couple of other organizations. So really exciting stuff's going on.
All right, thank you so much, Commissioner Sanchez. And then we'll finally move on to our new commission member, Commissioner Mallett. You can go ahead and take the floor. I don't believe we're able to hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yep. All
Perfect. Good. Yep. I had to switch microphones. So, one, thank you all for welcoming me today. My name is Justin Mallett. I am the Vice President for Inclusive Excellence and Access here at NAU. This is the start of my third year at NAU and my third year in Flagstaff. So I'm excited to join the group and be able to help out in any way that I can. So thank you all for inviting me in today.
Well, thank you so much, Commissioner Mallett. We're super excited to have you here on CODA, and I'm glad that we're able to introduce ourselves to you. If you ever have any questions about anything, feel free to reach out to any of us or Chris, and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to agenda item number 3, which is our mission statement and our land acknowledgement. I will go ahead and read the mission statement for CODA here. So we are commissioned to foster support, respect, and awareness and appreciation of diversity among all citizens of Flagstaff. And then I will have Commissioner Martinez read our land acknowledgement.
The Commission on Diversity Awareness humbly acknowledges the ancestral homelands of this area's indigenous nations and original stewards. These lands, still inhabited by Native descendants, border mountains sacred to indigenous peoples. We honor them, their legacies, their traditions, and their continued contributions. We celebrate their past, present, and future generations who will forever know this place is home.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Martinez. Go ahead and move on to item number 4, upcoming opportunities and announcements. I'll go ahead and start first since I have a couple fun opportunities coming up. Our first one here going on downtown Flagstaff is Halloween coming up October 31st. It is a completely free community event. We're going to have Aspen Avenue closed down between LaRue and San Francisco. We're going to have a decorated fire truck there, a haunted mountain line bus. We're going to have a decorated police cruiser there, and then a bunch of free candy on Aspen and throughout all of downtown. Stop in a business, get some candy. It's going to be really fun for the community. And also there's going to be a brass band there playing some spooky music as well. So it should be a really fun opportunity, and we're excited to bring this back again. And I'll go ahead and open the floor to y'all.
Well, I guess it's just me. I want to note that October 19th is CATS, Community Assistance Teams of Flagstaff, pop-up care village. This is twice a year community resources to serve our unhoused relatives. There's food, resources, and it's really an opportunity for housed and unhoused neighbors to come together. It'll be at Bushmaster Park. I believe it's 11 to 3.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Commissioner Darling.
I also wanted to share that the Literacy Center is having a fundraiser. It's called Read Between the Wines, which should be a fun event. That'll be happening on October 19th, and I'm happy to pop the link into the chat in case anybody is interested in attending and supporting the Literacy Center.
Awesome. Anyone else? All right, if not, before we move on, I actually have one more thing. I was able to accept our proclamation for Hispanic Heritage Month at City Council. That went really well. Their little posts went up on their social media today, and it was pretty fun. So I was honored to be there. So thank you all for your support and your help with that proclamation, and thank you for Chris for being there as well. So we appreciate it. All right, and then we'll go ahead and move on to item number 5, open call to the public. Do we have any public comment today? Nope. All right, so we will go ahead and move on to item number 6, which is approval of minutes. Did everyone have a chance to read the minutes last year? Any corrections? All right, if there's no corrections, I will go ahead and motion to approve the minutes from the 8/20/2025 CODA meeting. Do you have a second?
Commissioner Sanchez, I
second.
second that. Oop, we all second.
Thank you, everyone.
I'll look at the tape and see you got there first for the minutes next month.
All right, and then moving on to item number 7, moving on to action items here. So, Chris, I will let you go ahead and take over for election of our board.
Can I briefly request a short voice vote on the minutes?
Oh, yes, forgot. So we'll go ahead and approve the minutes. So thank you for that motion. All in favor to approve the minutes from the 8/20/2025 CODA meeting?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone against or abstain? No? All right, we'll go ahead and pass that motion. All right, thank you. And we'll move on to number 7, action items.
Okay. I'll just start with a short background of what we're looking for here on this. And when I say what we're looking for, I mean what the responsibilities of the position are. I don't want to put any kind of a foot on the scale of anyone that may be running for this. So we're going to look to elect 2 positions. The first one is the chairperson, and the chairperson does not hold any additional influence or power on the commission formally. What they do is help with setting the agenda. But as you know, at the end of our agenda, we have item 9 there, agenda for future meetings, and where we allow anyone to suggest items for future meetings. So you all have this power, but the chairperson will help me or my predecessor or I guess successor put those all together and decide which month or which dates work best for certain items, depending on availability of any external people who want to be involved, and just looking at the priorities of all the items we have and the ability to put them all on some agendas. We kind of go through periods where we have a lot of items in a few months, and then we have fewer. So we try to navigate those and space those out as best we can. The chairperson would help with that, but mostly the chairperson is in charge of running the meeting, as Commissioner Hernandez is doing right now. So you would be in charge of calling for motions, for calling votes, and moving us to the agenda items, and relatively keeping everybody on track. It is helpful if you are familiar with some of the rules of conduct and our parliamentary procedure type things, because I am actually not allowed to jump in and dictate if you're straying away from rules. I can kind of guide you a little bit, but I can't make a point of order. I can't make a point of information. I cannot jump in and say, actually, we have to do this totally differently. I can kind of nudge you in the right direction, but it's up to you guys to make sure that you as a commission are following all the rules, and the chairperson is kind of the buck stops with you in that regard. So we're looking for someone that can help with putting this together and then help us getting through each meeting with all of the rules and procedures that we have that I sent out this last week. So the way we'll do this is I'll still let Commissioner Hernandez run this item, but we'll want to call for anyone that is interested in running. This starts with a discussion of whatnot. So the action will be the vote, but if anybody wants to throw the name into the hat, you're welcome to. And then if you want to provide a set amount of time for everyone to give a short speech or a justification for why they would be a good chairperson, you're welcome to do that. I don't want to dictate your process or anything, or how long you give them or anything. And then at the end, we'll take a motion, and if there are more than one, we can take competing motions, and we'll get down to the vote on who the chairperson is. As soon as that is completed, the chairperson will the newly elected chairperson will take over running at that point, and we'll do it again a second time for the vice chairperson position. Those cannot be the same person, but if you run for chair and lose, but you want to be vice chair, please feel free to run again for that. The vice chairperson kind of steps in the chair's absence if they're away for a meeting, and helps with anything else that may be dictated to them. So you're kind of the backup position for the chair. Before that, any questions for me as the staff liaison? You'll serve until September of next year as well. So it would be, we'll do this again next September.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Chris.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and jump right into it. So I would like to offer the opportunity for people to nominate someone, as well as you can nominate yourself as well. So we'll jump into that, and then also feel free to give yourself up to 2 minutes to introduce yourself, or say the reasons of why you would like to either accept a nomination or to be part of the head of this commission. So I think I'll just go ahead and open up the floor, and feel free to just jump right in. I'd like to encourage everyone to just jump in. No need to be called on.
Look, chaos. We'll do it. I would like to nominate Commissioner Hernandez for the chair position.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I'm happy to second that. Oh, sorry.
Chaos.
Chaos already.
Well, thank you very much. I would be honored to accept your nomination. Before I go into anything, I would love to see if anyone else would like to nominate someone else or themselves to be chair of CODA. Going once, going twice. All right. Well, thank you both. I really appreciate it. I'll go ahead and give my minute here. I didn't prepare anything, but first of all, thank you. Like I said, thank you both. But I would be very honored to be chair of CODA. Like I said, I've been serving for a little over a year now, and I've really enjoyed my time here and being able to work with you all and meet everyone. I like to get through things. You've probably seen I have ran one of the meetings before, and running this one, I like to keep things moving and get to the point. So that's what I promise to do to you, or bring to the table for you all. I won't meander around any of the points. I don't sugarcoat things. I like saying things the way that they are, being truthful, and being very present and open with all of you. So that's my little chair, and I'm honored to have been nominated by you all. So if there's no one else, I would like to can I motion to elect myself?
So we would generally like the chair not to make motions. You can call for a motion, and then someone can say so moved if they want to make that, but usually the chair would not be the one that begins a motion.
I'm happy to motion that we make Commissioner Hernandez the chairperson of CODA. That we vote on it. Sorry.
Can I get a second?
I second that.
All right. All in favor of making myself the chair of CODA?
Aye.
Anyone against? And any abstain? Well, yay. The motion is passed. Thank you very much, all. I really appreciate you all, and we'll have some fun, and we'll get some things done. I'm really excited. All right. My moment is over. We'll go ahead and move on to 7B. Or sorry, not 7B. We're going to move on to the second part of 7A. Do we have any nominations for vice chair. And actually, I have a nomination. I'm going to throw it back at Commissioner Darling to be vice chair of CODA.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Hernandez. I
Anyone
believe
else?
I would accept that nomination, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Any more nominations for somebody else or themselves? No? All right, well, could I get a motion to approve Commissioner Darling as vice chair of CODA?
I motion to approve.
And I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? And anyone abstain? Great. Well, congratulations, Vice Chair Darling. Now, if you would like the floor for a moment, you're welcome to say anything if you'd like or not.
Well, let's see. All right, I'm ready for my campaign trail on my little flag. You guys, I just want to say thank you. Really my happiest place being of service is as a worker bee. And so I'm really happy to take on the opportunity to work and support. Send me your spreadsheets. Ask me to memorize Robert's Rules of Orders. These are the things that bring me joy. So, and I'm excited to work with Commissioner Hernandez in this capacity. As chair commissioner, let's say you have more of a title now, so it's very exciting for all of us. So thanks for believing in me, y'all.
Well, thank you so much now, Commissioner Darling or Vice Chair Darling. Really appreciate the work that you've done in this community. You're starting up a new Flagstaff chapter of PFLAG is amazing. So I'm wishing you best of luck, and however CODA can help you and get the word out. At least speaking for myself, I am very much in support of the work that you're doing. So thank you so much. All right.
Thank you. Same to you.
All right, moving on to 7B, discussion and action setting meeting days and times for future CODA meetings. I believe Chris sent out a poll to all of us, so I'll go ahead and turn it over to Chris to show us the results of that poll.
Yes, so I'm missing just a few individuals from the poll, but I can go through essentially and look at the ones that we have general consensus on to this point, and make sure that the folks that were not included are able to make it. I know that one of our commission members is not available at our current meeting time going forward. So I know that this current time does not work in the future. So that's why we're looking at this. I see no reason really that we need to change it from the third week of the month unless someone has a reason that they didn't specify. Please feel free to speak up if you did. But otherwise, we're going to go through, I'm just going to kind of scroll through Monday through Friday of the results I have, and we'll discuss the times that were shown to be generally available. So the first one is Mondays at 10 a.m. That's the only time I show on Mondays that everyone that responded said they were available. Is anybody here not available Mondays at 10?
This will continue to be the third week.
Yes, unless there's a reason we need to change it, then I wouldn't. Okay. And because there's two individuals and one of them is our new commissioner that's not here, I'm going to try to bring several options to her to see what would work best. So I actually won't walk away from this meeting knowing exactly what it'll be, but I'll get that to you as soon as I can. Was that one okay for you, Commissioner Darling?
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Then we have those there. And it looks like nothing on Tuesday was available. What's funny is Wednesday at 1:30, several of you said is not good for you, which I find funny. Anyways, let's see. We get to Nothing Thursday. And then it looks like early afternoon on Friday from 1:30 and 2 o'clock. We're all available to all of you. Are those also good for everybody? Beginning at 1 or 2 o'clock on a Friday? That would end at probably 2:30 to 3:30 or so most weeks. Okay. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. And okay. It looks like, nope, those are the ones we're going to look at. So I'm going to try to go with one of these times if I can. If I'm not able to find a match, I would also like to avoid Fridays. So hopefully that Monday one works just fine. If not, if we end up in a position where we can't get agreement for everybody, I might look at the ones that have one person and I'll reach out to each individually to see if there's an ability to miss something or schedule around anything you had an X on, but I won't do that without your express given consent. The other items on this one are that we have been meeting virtually, and that has been just a remnant of the COVID-19 pandemic. When I took over as the staff liaison, this was meeting virtually and had never transitioned to being in person. So I figured this would be a good time to discuss whether we want to add an in-person component to this. It would not be mandatory. We'll certainly keep this, but is anybody here interested in trying to have an in-person segment of the meeting where at least a few of us are sitting physically in the same room? Or do you like it being virtually?
I would like to suggest the possibility of virtually because it makes our lives easier, but maybe quarterly or biannually that we meet together in the same room. Is that a possibility?
You can do whatever you'd like. Yeah, it's up to you all. We can do it every meeting, and just the folks that show up in person are in person. Everyone else can be remote. You can do a specific ones that are in person. It's really up to you all. I think that we may even be able to meet off-site occasionally if that's desired, if we want to move around the city or whatnot. But
Could you repeat that, Commissioner Martinez? I didn't hear that.
No, it's okay. So I was just going to say, I do kind of like the idea of having even like a quarterly in-person thing. I think that that's great. As far as like the monthly ones, meeting virtually is best for myself.
Trying to read the chat here. Sounds like Commissioner Sanchez is on that same front. Me personally, I would love to have an in-person element. I do love a face-to-face every once in a while, even if we do it quarterly, or trying to add just an in-person thing all the time, and we all try to get there every maybe once a quarter or twice a year, something like that. I think it'd be great. I love meetings in person, but that's just me. But I understand that this works a lot better for people when it's virtually. So, yeah, maybe once a quarter would be great, but I would be in support of having some sort of in-person element.
just to clarify, we would not go to a situation where we're sitting in a room without a Teams meeting. We want to keep it open for open call to the public as well, to allow members of our public to attend virtually. And just like our city council right now, which kind of it's, I think usually a majority of council sits in the same room, but there's usually one or two of folks that are traveling or otherwise predisposed that attend virtually. And so we could do it that way every meeting, or we could only schedule one occasionally that has an in-person component. So, but there would not be a situation where we're meeting without the virtual component. Kind of full stop on that.
You can go ahead, Councilperson House.
Thank you. Yeah, the only thing that I'd add for folks' consideration is just how likely it will be for a majority of members to, like, I think if you're having an in-person meeting, you want to make sure that you have enough people there to, I don't want to say validate the resources, but for having to set up for like streaming of in-person and virtual. If it's going to be in council chambers or at the Aquaplex or at one of the other city sites, then just having to navigate the tech. So just making sure that if there are in-person meetings scheduled, you have kind of that consensus that the majority of people will be there, while still keeping it an option for folks that need to attend virtually to do so.
Yeah, that's a good point. So me personally, I would be able to make, I would say, almost every meeting in person. Let's just go through one at a time. I'll call your name and say, would you be able to make the majority of meetings in person or no? So we'll just go ahead and start with Commissioner Martinez.
I would not be able to make them in person, no.
He did
All right.
not get
The
a receiving
majority.
screening.
Commissioner Darling.
We'll be able to make a half of them in person, for sure.
Okay. All right, good. Commissioner Sanchez.
I'm on a similar, at least I think for the rest of this semester, just because I do teach at noon, and so the commute, I want to make sure that I was able to make it back to class, or 12:30, but you know what I mean.
Gotcha. Thank you. And Commissioner Mallett.
Yeah, it really determines the date and the time for me, because meetings kind of just pop up all the time for me. So it would just determine the date and the time. I'm sorry, I can't give a full commitment, but it would just be the date and the time, whatever. The sooner we do it, the sooner we make the decision on the date and time, then I can get it on my calendar quicker, where I don't have to block anything else out.
Great. Well, it sounds like the majority of people cannot make it every month, so I would like to revisit quarterly. I think it would be great to see you all in person. Is there anyone who would not be in favor of meeting quarterly? Or Chris, is this also possible to meet quarterly?
Totally. Yeah, you can do that. And just so you're aware of it, so you have the context as well. One other item that other commissions do that just is another factor to consider is they take certain months off each year. They just have a scheduled break. And that I was going to ask about that next, if there's any months that we want to just state that we're not going to meet ahead of time, that we don't have to notice it or anything, and not have an expectation that we're going to be present for that. So we could do once or twice a year where we don't meet, and then maybe 4 times a year where we meet in person. That would leave, I think, 6 times of the year where we meet virtually. So it would be a little bit less than half the time. We could do 3 times a year, 2 times a year, whatever you like.
Yeah, I mean, I would be in favor of, trying to meet quarterly in person and taking a month off here or there. I mean, it could just depend on agenda items. Like, you did cancel those meetings when we had no agenda items. So that might make sense. But if something pops up, I wouldn't necessarily want to not have a meeting, even though there would be agenda items. Does anyone else have any comment?
I would share that I really liked the summer off. One of my other committees does that. And it's like being a teenager again. I know that there's less activity, like we didn't have agenda items over the summer. And so maybe a couple of months at that time without meetings it was kind of nice.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I would say that to kind of piggyback off of that, if we did maybe like the end of summer, because I do know there's quite a few things going on in like June, so that was good to have meetings around then. But maybe like the end of summer, I think could be nice to have some time off.
I don't have a vote in this at all, but just knowing what our calendar looks like each year, what struck out to me is the month of June, where we have Pride and Juneteenth in the middle of the month that tend to happen right around when we meet. So that would be maybe a decent time to focus on those things and not have a meeting. And then November often falls right around Thanksgiving because we're in the third week. We just would always beat Christmas, but we don't always beat Thanksgiving. So those were the 2 months that stuck out to me. If you want to do it, but I have no vote and just wanted to provide context.
Great. Councilmember House, you can go ahead.
I was actually going to say something similar to Chris, that with other commissions that I've served on, a lot of times they take off in July because it's right after all of their major events. So it's a nice kind of space to breathe. Or August because it's right before the start of school for folks, if they have kids going into school or if they work at the university, it's nice to have that month off so they can focus on those things. And then again, looking at November and December, I believe, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there are a couple of commissions that do a combined meeting in November and December rather than meeting in both months. So it's not necessarily a meeting off, quote unquote, but it's more of just kind of finding a date in between the two scheduled dates for that commission, or even changing the day so that they can just have that combined meeting for around the holidays, if that works for people as well.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Councilmember House. I think it would be a good idea to take November off for sure. That makes sense in for Thanksgiving. Does anyone have a preference between June and July to take off? No preference? All right, well, I would like to entertain the idea then of taking off July and November from our CODA meetings. Does anyone have any discussion about that, or someone would want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All right, everyone's eager to take off July and November. All right, all in favor of taking July and November off of CODA meetings?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone against? Does anyone abstain? All right, and the motion passes.
Okay. And then,
Right.
So with that, if you want to meet in person quarterly, which months would you like to be in person? And it's nice to establish these because I can put this on the website, I can put this on agendas, and then it's not something that we have to notice every single month differently. It'll be a consistent notification that is accessible year round.
So I'm trying to figure out what these months would be. So possibly, I mean, possibly starting in December, because then that would be December, March, June, September, right? And then we wouldn't miss any of those dates. So December would make sense to me to meet quarterly because they wouldn't land on any of those off months that we have. Any discussion on that? Would anyone like to motion to meet quarterly starting in December?
A motion to meet quarterly starting in December.
I'll second that.
And just to be clear, it's meeting quarterly in person, right?
Correct. And also with the online element. So if you can't make it, we'd still have it on Teams. Great. Well, the motion passes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against? And does anyone abstain? All right, and the motion passes. So I'm very excited to hopefully see you all in December. Great, Chris.
Awesome.
Anything else on this before we move on?
No, that's all. I will look around to once we have the date scheduled, which I certainly hope to have by today or tomorrow. I will let you all know what the new meeting time will be. I will look for room availability here in City Hall. And then as we get closer to those dates, if you want to in the future, you're welcome to meet at other locations if anyone has a desire to do that. But in the meantime, I'll look for facilities available in City Hall that I can book on a permanent basis. That's it for that item.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris. I'm super excited to see you all in person. All right. We will go ahead and move on to item 8, reports and discussion items. We'll go to 8A, review of open meeting requirements and procedural expectations for commission members. So I'm going to go ahead and let Chris take the floor again.
Yeah. So I don't have like a PowerPoint presentation for this item. We as staff liaisons about a month or two ago went through our annual training on all the things that we have to do as liaisons. And essentially, we're responsive to you all. You all are kind of an extension of City Council. You're advisory to City Council. So just like you can give, or City Council can give direction to staff, you can give direction to staff. Our relationship to me as your staff person is similar to council and their staff. But I know that because you all are volunteers and you do this, once a month, if that, you may not always be most up to date on some of the rules and requirements that surround everything. And with a few new members joining, I thought this would be a good time just to refresh on some of these things that we know are most important and most commonly ones that people don't know. So what I did is I sent you all a cheat sheet on Robert's Rules of Orders from the Arizona League of Cities and Towns, and that is kind of a good one pager for what you're allowed to do during a meeting. I'll just pull it up. I guess a 2-pager here. So want to go through. They have these types of motions. I wouldn't worry about that section too much, but the steps of a motion where a person has to make it, and I teach this kind of legislative procedure to high school students as well sometimes. And what I always say, I try to harp on is that there's a difference between move and motion. A motion is a noun, that is the thing when you're talking about it in the third person, and move is a verb. So when you are making the motion, you should use the word move. I move, not I motion, because the motion is the noun. So if you're talking about it, the motion in front of us is, you'd say motion, just like you wouldn't say the move is, you wouldn't say I motion. So that's a pretty quick one. A motion needs to have a second. The chairperson should restate the motion so that everyone knows what we're voting on, because sometimes there can be points or that we can kind of get off topic a little bit. People can forget what the actual question in front of us is. Then you have a vote, and depending on, we usually do voice votes here, ayes and nays. The chairperson should, after hearing those, give a chance for the ayes have it, the nays have it. And if there's a dispute of that, if you think that our chairperson got it incorrect and the other side actually won or the motion failed or passed contrary to what they said, you can call for a division, which is where we will go around and we'll do show of hands or something like that to actually get a count. But otherwise, there is no record of Commissioner X voted yes or no on a topic, just it passed via a voice vote. And then there are some things that we would go to and try to get a number on. But so those are motions. Points are anytime that you want to interject something to the chair. A point is just about always in order, which means it needs to be addressed right then. There are really 3 or 4 major types of points. A point of order is when you think someone else has violated a rule. If you think that, for example, if we're in public or open call to the public, and we as a commission have agreed that 3 minutes is the time limit for open call to the public, and they're on minute 6, and the chairperson is not stopping them, and you would like them to stop talking, you can just unmute yourself or just say point of order. We're supposed to be at 3 minutes, explain what it is, and the chairperson has the final say on whether or not you're correct on your point of order. And they can say, yeah, that's upheld. Sorry, I should have done that. You need to stop talking, or whatever it may be. If we had agreed on anything that as a rule it's being violated, that's a point of order. A point of information is when you have a question. So that is similar to a point of order, but if you're not sure of it, if you're not sure what the rule is on it, or if you've lost what the motion in front of us is. If we're voting on something and there's been a lot of discussion and you've forgotten what the wording is of the motion, or you want to know, be reminded of the topic, you ask for a point of information, and you're provided the information by the chair. Can say, no, we're voting on X or Y. A point of inquiry is very similar. That is in the discussion for a motion if you have a very specific point, but if you use a point of information as a point of inquiry, that would be fine as well. Then a point of personal privilege is for anything else. It's kind of the catch-all. Sometimes there may be a person with us that you invited and was with a nonprofit. If you want to introduce them at a certain point, you can make a point of personal privilege and introduce them. If we're sitting in public or sitting in the same room and you want the air conditioner turned on or a fan turned off or window opened or a light changed, that's a point of personal privilege. If Teams is not working properly and we can't hear anybody, that would be a point of personal privilege. We often just shout those things out and that ends up being fine, but under Robert's Rules of Orders, that is what we would actually look for in those kinds of things. Outside of this document, which was kind of just for navigating things in meeting, I sent you this other one that's from 2019, and that's our meeting agenda. This was a 57-page document that is your rules and operations manual. You probably all got this when you were first appointed to the commission, but it's always nice to put this back in front of you so you can read through some things on it. A few items I wanted to call out specifically on this were our quorum. Our quorum is always 4. It doesn't matter if we drop down to 5 members or 4 members. We're a 7-member commission, and our quorum is always 4 people. So that's the requirement, and it does not change. Some of these things on voting, there are no proxies. You cannot have someone else vote for you, and you may be surprised to learn that you actually can't abstain from a vote unless you have a conflict that needs to be called out. So that means if we're voting on the minutes from the last month and you were not at the last month's meetings, and you think, oh, I wasn't there, I don't know if these meeting minutes are correct or not, you have to vote on that. You're not allowed to make that abstention because you don't have a conflict with that. So we need everyone to vote on all of the items. We have some other motions in there if you want to read through some of those. Public comment, we kind of got a little bit of direction on this from our city clerk's office, that public comment is usually something that pertains to an agenda item. So if we're having a discussion and there's a member of the public present and they want to speak on that item, they have to wait till we're addressing that item on the agenda. If they want to speak at the beginning of the agenda on something not on the agenda, that is an open call to the public. That is not public comment. They want to make this different. Public comment is to an item. Open call to the public is not to an item. So we did make that change on our agenda. You probably will forget that, but we've adjusted all the language that you read automatically, so it'll be reflective of that properly. Reminder that you cannot respond to open call to the public because it's not an agendized item, so you are not allowed to respond. You can instruct me to follow up with them, or you can say we'll get back to you on things, but you cannot have a discussion on the item. If it is an agendized item, it is different because it is on the agenda, so you are allowed to discuss if you would like. I would recommend that the commission establish a baseline rule at some point for how you want to address open call to the public. Right now, there isn't a citywide standard of you have I think at city council, you have 3 minutes. And if you have a group of, I think 15 people, I think you get 12 minutes or 10 minutes or something along those lines. You get to talk for longer if you're with the group. That is city council's rule, but it does not apply to all of the commissions. So you can set your own rules or have none. I would recommend that you all agree on what you want to do for that, just because if you don't have those and we end up in a situation where someone shows up to open call to the public or to public comment and they start talking and you have not established what the rules are, you're essentially giving them the ability to filibuster your meeting. And you wouldn't be able to make them stop talking if you have not established that rule. So something we'll want to look at in the future possibly is adding that. If you, it is agendized right now, but is agendized under a discussion item, not an action item, so you cannot take a vote on it right now. Aside from that, I've been doing minutes kind of my own way. We have some broad standards for how we want to do them. You'll notice that it's not just a summary of votes, but I try to summarize discussion of just important questions that were asked. It is not usually in your own words. It's usually a synopsis that just explains what was talked about, who asked what question, what the general answer was. That's what works best for me. That's the substance level that the city looks for in its meetings. But that's not to say that when somebody else is doing the minutes, they won't look slightly different. They can, and that's okay, as long as that they have all the important information in there. They have, especially that they have any motions, any votes, and that kind of thing. We don't need to be summarizing a full transcript of everything our presenters say. If you ever watch a recording and you see on the side the transcript that Microsoft Teams produces, when we have people present, it's just a block of text that goes on forever. And putting that all in front of you in minutes would be kind of beside the point. You would not read it, and then you would not get any of the information that was contained within there. So you'll notice there the conflict of interest law. I don't want to go into this one as much because that is a state statute, and I don't want to give you legal advice that could end up being incorrect if I misstate something. So I would just tell you all that you should read through that and take a look at what it means to have a conflict of interest and what you have to do in those situations. That is when you're allowed to abstain from a vote, is if you have a conflict of interest. Finally, aside from that, want to talk about public records. Anything that you say in relation to this commission is a public record. If you send an email to me, it is a public record. If you say things in this meeting, they are public records. So know that when you're communicating with city staff and with each other, that hypothetically that could be requested through a public information, a FOIA, and we would have to turn that information over. You'll notice when I send out emails, I generally try to BCC you all on them. And that's just to avoid any kind of a reply all situation. I wasn't able to this weekend on the agenda because it had that poll in it. And for some reason, the way it works is that you have to be in the to section of the email in order to be included as a person that's allowed to vote on the poll. If I think, I can't remember who it was, someone reached out to me and said that they were not included. It's because I put some of you in there, and then I put the poll, and then I put a few more of you in there, and I had to resend it actually. So sorry if that was you. But also just note that if there's any reason that you think that you would be present at an event with a majority of people on this commission, we will need to notice that, not as a meeting, but just as a possible quorum that could be happening. So if we're all going to be at Pride or Juneteenth or MLK Day or any other kind of celebration, or a meeting of city council or anything, we will just want to make sure that we know about that beforehand so that we can notice that properly. Aside from that, I don't have a whole lot. I just wanted to go over a few things that I know come up, and I know that other commissions have had be things they've dealt with. The meeting that I had with the rest of our staff liaisons was actually pretty nice. Every commission operates a little bit differently, so we kind of got to hear what things other people have dealt with, and I'm trying to get ahead of some of the things that other commissions have had problems with here. And there are a few things here that you may notice are a little bit different than we have done them. So we're going to try to put ourselves in better alignment with all of these expectations. aside from that, if anybody has any questions right now, I'm happy to answer them or continue discussion on any of these topics if you want more information on it. But if not, I have sent you both of these documents and would recommend that you read through them.
Thank you very much, Chris. We appreciate you for giving us all this information. I know there's a lot in these open meeting laws, so let's all try to do our best to abide by these rules.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
And if you ever see me or someone else accidentally send an email that's not BCC, please don't reply all to it. Maybe send a reply that says, "Hey, you sent it. You sent it to all of us," and I can follow up and remind everyone not to reply to it or something. But that's why you're BCC'd. It's not because I'm trying to hide your identities from each other or anything, but because I just don't want to accidentally lead to a situation where one of you hits reply all and then we're violating open meeting law.
Great. Thanks again, Chris. Does anyone have any questions or discussion before we move on? If not, we will go ahead and move on to the next discussion. 8B will be updates from working groups. So I'll go ahead and let you jump in.
Commissioner Sanchez here, and I'm happy to share an update on the library CODA working group. I am super excited to share that we have found somebody to do the bilingual story time in ASL. So we are up to ASL and Spanish. Unfortunately, Navajo, we have not been able to find somebody just yet. I do have some leads that I'm chasing down, but unfortunately, CCC had to get rid of the class due to low enrollment. And so we were kind of hoping to partner with the most part with CCC to get some of that stuff off the ground. So I'm still working on Navajo, but I hope we have a meeting on the books next week. And so next time I will be sharing out the fall schedule of where the bilingual story times landed. So maybe we can all come out and support the library.
Well, thank you so much for that update, Commissioner Sanchez. I really appreciate all the work that you've put into this, and I like to hear where it's going. So thank you again. Are there any more updates on discussion?
Commissioner Sanchez, would you like me to put you in touch with our Indigenous coordinator here at the city to see if she would have any connections that would help with that in Navajo?
That would be fantastic, because the connections that I currently have, I would essentially be cold calling. And
Okay,
so it would be nice to have like an introduction. I'd really appreciate that, Chris.
I'd be happy to set it up for you. Yeah.
All right. Any more updates before we move on?
Yes, sorry about that. Thank you, Commissioner Hernandez. So really briefly, our Rainbow Crosswalk Working Group is still quiet, but we've come back together and started a conversation. We're looking at some times to set up our next meeting and hopefully moving back into our goal of doing a happy hour. We're looking for the right place there. Ben is our team member is looking for the right place to host that, and bringing together some of those potential funders and the groups that have done this in the past with like the median art piece out by Fala. So we have plans, and we are working to come back together and make something happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Darling. If you need any contact information or help with any downtown businesses, please let me know and I can get you all those resources.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Anything else before we move on? All right, we'll go ahead and move on to 8C, review and discussion of recent, current, and future commission priorities. Chris, if you want to bring up our parking lot.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to split screen on my other screen, but it's on the opposite one. Let me switch over to it. Got it. Here we are. Yeah, so I thought it would be nice with some new members joining this month just to kind of go over the things we've been working on, and then have a discussion about what things are still in motion and what we want to work on going forward, so that we're all on the same page on all of that kind of stuff. So we talked about the Rainbow Crosswalk back in February as an item. That was the creation of the working group, and it's been functioning kind of as its own organization since then. This allows us to work more with some partner organizations in the community, so that we don't have to agendize it and discuss it ourselves every single month. And Commissioner Darling has been fantastic with discussing that, with leading that effort. We reviewed some information about anti-camping ordinances in town, which was a request that we had just a couple years after a Supreme Court decision changed how that's enforced at the local level. So we had the Chief Connolly here to discuss that back in January. There was a discussion a while back whether we were going to form a women's rights working group. We decided not to recommend that as its own commission, just because it would create more staff time, and it probably didn't have quite enough content to warrant its own commission. But we're still looking at advocating for things in that space. Commissioner Sanchez has been involved with the Oral History Project and other library programs pretty ongoing since then. We also heard some information about inclusive wayfinding that we kind of passed along to the Indigenous Commission, and I believe they've still been working on that in the time since. I haven't heard an update in a few months, but I know that they got a presentation after we did, and we're supportive of that effort. Each year we get one person from our commission to volunteer with the Multicultural County Park exhibition, which is an art exhibition. You sit in a panel, and Commissioner Hernandez has done that this year. So that's something we'll look for when we usually get to see who all the winning art projects were, and then each year we select a new person to go forward for that. So we'll look for that when it comes back around. We took a look at some things about how the federal actions have had an impact on programs here in the city, and kind of determined that there's a lot of things that are possible, but nothing had really been concretely hindered as of yet. So we kind of tabled that just to keep an eye on it, but without a definite need to address that at this time, we kind of pushed that back. And then I've been working for the last couple of years on an anti-bullying policy that will apply to all city programs. And just today, I sent what I'm hoping will be the final draft over to our city manager's office. I'm hoping to have that done by next week. And I'll update the commission when that is complete. Obviously, at the bottom there, two of the items we've had earlier on this agenda today. We elected our new chair and vice chairpersons, and we had a discussion about how this commission will meet going forward. I'll get back to you on the final result of that. One item that is kind of in our parking lot for a future meeting is a discussion on immigration actions in Flagstaff. We were going to meet on that earlier last month, and we couldn't get all the folks we wanted to attend. And then we this month we wanted to just kind of establish the commission, and we'll look to do that again next month. So I'm going to work to get Chief Connolly, if he's available, to be present for that conversation. And I know that there's some other organizations that we're hoping we can bring in from the outside, Nails, and there were a few other that were mentioned. So I'll probably reach out to any of you that have those connections, and I can try to arrange for them to be present for the October meeting. But aside from that, when we have that item, it's number 9, we will solicit any other items that anybody else would like to discuss or learn more about, and we can put those in the parking lot for a future meeting. So you all, whether or not you're in a chairmanship or a vice chairmanship, you have the ability and are encouraged to bring any items forward or subjects that you want the commission to address or talk about, and we can look to put those on an agenda in the future. That's how we get probably half of our agenda items come from you all. So if there's things that you want to do because you joined this commission and you want to advocate for, then please speak up, and we can try to get those in front of the commission.
Chris, would you like us to discuss those things now, or once we get to that agenda item for future discussion? I know this guy's kind of on here twice today.
Yeah, it is kind of covered by both of those items. I'll leave that to your discretion as the chair.
Great. I'd say we're already talking about it. Let's just go ahead and move that item up to now. So let's go ahead and open the floor for future agenda items. If no one has anything, I actually have something I would love to discuss with you all and Chris and Councilmember House as well when you're here. I think I love this commission. I love being on CODA. I love everything we stand for. We are absolutely hamstrung by the fact that we don't have any sort of budget at all. So it's very hard to make actions actually happen. So I'm wondering, is there a path forward? What would it look like to try to get some sort of budget? And, what would that look like? What would need to happen? I know that it would need to be in the city's budget, so a lot of things would have to happen. So I would love to be able to discuss how we can make actions happen in the real world. Whereas right now I feel like we focus on proclamations and and voicing concerns, but it's hard to see real world change without budget. So
Commissioner Sanchez here. I did so like what kind of action are you hoping for funding for? Because I guess the action that I work on is usually like volunteering my time and energy with like the library and getting some of those things moving forward. So I do feel like there's real world action on like the things I'm working on. But I'd be interested in knowing like what kind of events like you would want funding for, because I wonder if there's opportunities for like grant writing or like things like that, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. And I do agree with that. Yes, we do have real world things from these volunteer opportunities, and things where it's really people oriented. That's where we have our effect. Where we don't have our effect is, think of this rainbow crosswalk has been in our parking lot forever now. What if we had the budget to actually fund it? Funding is very hard. Same thing with inclusive wayfinding. We all loved that idea. We loved the idea of having this inclusive wayfinding in Flagstaff. Not only is it a benefit for the city, but it's also a benefit for tourists, for public, and also to have that Native American indigenous artwork wrapped up into it. We all loved that, but we have no budget. That's the only problem. Everyone loves it. The Indigenous Commission, they liked it as well. My colleague here presented the same thing to them, and they loved it too, but nobody has any money to do any of it. So the things that have a real fixed dollar cost, a dollar amount, we can't do because we don't have any money. What if we could vote on something and then, we could move forward with it,
Got it. Thanks for explaining. I guess I didn't realize that the inclusive wayfinding was being bottlenecked by the lack of funds. And I'm not sure, like the rainbow crosswalk, I guess I wasn't understanding that it was bottlenecked by funds. I thought it was more about like organization and getting things sorted.
Yeah, well, there are a million different things of why things aren't getting done, but I think funding is definitely a big piece in that puzzle that's being that's it before us. So it's crazy how much easier things are to get done when money is being backed, or money is backing that program. So I get that. I've worked for a nonprofit for a very long time, and we're extremely hamstrung by our budget. So it'd be very easy to get things done with a bigger budget. Chris, I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, thanks. This sounds like it's a great topic. I'll note it is not agendized on today's agenda, so we probably should not get into much more deeper conversation about the specifics of it. But talking about how to fund programs and initiatives that we support generally would be a fantastic item for a future agenda, and I'd be happy to put that in the parking lot for a future one and I can talk to some of my colleagues to see if one of them maybe is more of an expert on it than I am that could present to the commission. But that would be a great one to discuss.
Yes, Chris, I think that'd be amazing to put that on an agenda. So yeah, let's put it on and we can talk more and let everyone come with your ideas of how you may have an effective use of a budget.
I love it getting added in real time and just watching it go.
Gotta be careful to spell it right so I don't embarrass myself. And I'll just put tentatively October, but that's always subject to change.
All right, I think we'll go ahead and move on. Does anyone else have anything else they would like to add to a future agenda before we move on? All right, we'll go ahead and move on then. Let me pull up my agenda here.
I can switch over back to it.
I just had a quick question, real quick. So for the agenda items, those can kind of be brought up for future placement on an agenda just at any time, right? It doesn't have to be all kind of now.
It doesn't. No, if you have something that you're eyeing that you want to talk about in March, but not yet, absolutely, we can accommodate that. Was that the question you were asking, Commissioner Martinez?
Yeah, it was more of just like if there was something that we did want to talk about that like now would be the time we would have to bring it up, or kind of like forever stay silent kind of deal. But if it was something that like down the road, if it came up in another meeting and it was the time to kind of bring it up to put on a future agenda, if that was okay.
We're not allowed to put things on the agenda in the meeting. It has to be noticed 24 hours beforehand. And the agenda can't change in that 24 hours. So if there's something that say it came up today and we want to discuss it, we would not be able to.
Right.
But the reason that we have this item each month is that if there's things that are more important, we can try to get them on the agenda for the next available meeting, which is usually
okay.
1 month out.
Cool. Perfect.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on. We're going to 8D, updates from our council liaisons. Chris, I'll let you go ahead and take over.
That would be a Councilwoman House, actually, is the council liaison.
Sorry, I was looking at staff. Sorry. Councilmember House, please, if you'd like to take over, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Hernandez. Chris, I am always ready and willing to give you that promotion to City Council if you want it. So just say the word. I don't have many updates for you at this point. I just want to reiterate thanks to the commission for providing the Hispanic Heritage Month proclamation. I know Manny, Chair Hernandez said at the beginning of the meeting that he was able to join and be there for the reading. I was remote that day, but always want to try and make a point of thanking this commission for each of the proclamations that you all draft up together. I am blanking on what our next one will be, but I think maybe not until the new year.
Let me take a look.
But that's really all I had for you all. And just thanks for your ongoing work. Congratulations to Chair Hernandez and Vice Chair Darling on your election today, and looking forward to whatever is coming up next. I will just tack on because I keep meaning to bring it up and forgot. Dr. Mallet, who just joined, we had prior conversation about potential partnership, I think, between this commission and NAU's MLK Day celebration. Dr. Mallet, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but just wanted to raise that sooner than later so that it can be just kind of top of mind as we're heading into that. And I would just lean on maybe Dr. Mallet or someone else from NAU and his department to let us know when the planning was starting for that so that we could try and get it agendized. Am I correct on that, Dr. Mallet?
Yeah, yeah, you're 100% spot on. We are right now. We're in the process of just finalizing a couple of things to start the planning process. But my hope is that we can potentially get it on the agenda either for our October meeting or for sure the November meeting. Definitely.
Thank you. And that is all for me, Chair.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Councilmember House, for your updates. We appreciate it. And then we'll go ahead and move on to updates from staff liaison. So now, Chris, if you can please jump in, that'd be great.
All right, absolutely. And Commissioner Mallet, I did just add that as a possible future agenda item to that parking lot as well. So we have that on our radar. Yeah, so I don't have a whole lot. Last month I gave you kind of a personal one that I'm leaving the organization. I think that it's looking like that's going to be end of October right now. So I think next month will probably be my last month with y'all. But aside from that, let's see. I did get the email from the Human Rights Campaign a few weeks ago, and I submitted the city's response for the Municipal Quality Index scorecard on Friday of last week. I am not supposed to disclose anywhere what that draft scorecard said, and I think doing so in a public meeting would probably be the wrong place to do that. But usually they send us a final scorecard November, December-ish. It really has varied over the last couple of years. But approximately around Thanksgiving, it's been earlier and later as I've seen it. And I will be submitting a supplemental to that just as soon as I notified them that it was not done, but would be done soon, the anti-bullying plan, because this is kind of where it started. So that's the item that I'm hoping that we get points for still, because we are doing it in 2025 and it'll be done before the calendar year, very likely. But it didn't quite meet the deadline that they submitted to us. I didn't know when it was, and I had it agendized to go to city leadership last week. And so that meeting happened on Monday, where I went to our directors, kind of the highest level staff with the city, to get all their input on the final plan. And they did have some input. So it between incorporating their input, sending it one more time to our city attorney's office, getting the language right, that was going to take more than 4 days. So we missed that deadline. But I'm going to submit a follow-up to say, hey, here, it's still 2025 and we did it, to see if we get points for it. And if not, it'll be ready and done for the following year.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for your updates. Good luck with everything. And thank you so much for all the work that you've been putting in. So
Thanks.
I think I speak on behalf of everyone when we say we appreciate all the work that you do. All right, we'll go ahead and skip agenda item 9 because we put that up in 8, and we'll go to 10. So would anyone like to move to adjourn? It is 2:52. Oh, Chris?
Just for the sake of on this item, because it's on there a second time, just to make sure I'm clear on some things here. I want to go over what I have, just so that we don't miss anything, so that you can see what it looks like after a few items I put there since changing the screen away. So I'll get a report to you all from on the MEI probably in December. Okay, I probably me at that point, but it'll be scheduled for December, maybe January, depending on when it comes out. And actually, we said we're taking November off, didn't we?
Correct.
So not November. In that case, Commissioner Mallett, when would you like it? When would you like this to come back to this commission? Would you like October or December?
October would be great. December would be too late. So yeah, so October would be awesome.
Okay. And if you have any students that are involved in that, and you have anything, I'll reach out to you over the next few weeks to see what you want for that, and if you want them to be a part of it, or if you want us to, whatever you want that to be, I can help kind of craft that item with you so that it is the right discussion and gives you the right support that you need for it. So awesome. Okay, and then maybe I'll speak with you, Chairman Hernandez, and we'll discuss which of these make sense to go next month and which ones we want to push back.
Sounds great.
Or if we need to push any back at all. So, all right, that's all on the agenda for the next meeting.
All right, well, now let's adjourn. So it's 2:54 p.m. Would anyone like to move to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Do I have
I'll
a second?
second that.
Awesome. All in favor?
I
Aye.
All right. Any against? No. All right. And if no one's against, let's go ahead. The motion passes, and we'll see you all next time.
Thank you.
Bye,
I'll
everyone.
be in touch. I'll be in touch shortly with future dates. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Bye.